Bam! Disorder starts with myself, Ray Taylor, and my co-host, Keith motherfucking Spurlock.
It's me.
It's him, MF, the middle initials for Keith Spurlock, if anybody wants to steal his bank account. And our guest for today, some call him clear-minded, some call him well-spoken. On Twitter, we call him kinda rational, but on this podcast, we call him Alex Posey. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing good, man. We don't know a whole lot about you, Keith and I. You know, we just know Twitter. We know you're into UFC. We know you live in Colorado, which is a nice place, especially if you like to smoke weed, and probably other things as well, I'm sure. So tell us about yourself.
Engine.
And you're an engine.
Yes.
Not an engine. He's Native American, to clarify.
Feather, not dot.
Yeah, exactly. Feather, not dot. Hence the lack of accent. Not all people from India. Well, they probably should if they're from India. They'd be posers. So anyway, so tell us about what's it like living in Colorado. Have you always been there? Is that where you're from?
No, I'm actually a transplant. I moved from Wyoming last year. I was born and raised in central Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here, like I said, the last year, enjoying it. It's fun. I've never lived in the city. I grew up in a very rural area, on an Indian reservation. The biggest towns, the border towns are 10,000, 6,000. So
Wow.
not a lot of people. Yeah, very small. So I enjoy the shit out of Colorado. The thing I like the most is everyone minds their fucking business pretty much.
That's good.
Yeah, the small towns, everyone is into everything and fucking, it's too small. You feel trapped sometimes. I felt trapped.
Yeah.
They seem very friendly there in Colorado too, like just to strangers friendly.
Yeah, man. People are chill. Yeah, hell yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I try to interact with at least one stranger every day, whether it's fucking hold a door or do something, just say hi, or, but for the most part, like you said, people are nice, man. And, only cunts I've encountered are on the highway, but that's everywhere,
Yeah. That's where cunts are made a lot of the times, is on the fucking highways. So, how old are you?
I am 30 years old.
Okay. So, our age. So, what brought you out to Colorado? Why'd you move?
Denver. I visited Denver. I went to college for a little while. I never graduated, to the University of Wyoming, which is a couple hours away from Denver. And I grew up a Nuggets fan, a Broncos fan. So I was always down here. I tried to catch those games growing up. My dad would bring us down. So I always knew the area.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not really a spur of the moment thing, but Wyoming didn't have too much to offer in terms of my job was dead end. Really no progression. I worked for my tribe, and it was a good job, but it was not rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
I could go and just fuck off from 9 to 5 from Monday to Thursday and get all my shit done on Friday. One of those type of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So what brought us down here? I'm married and I have a 5-year-old son who just started kindergarten this year.
Okay.
So what brought us down here was basically just to try the city life and to try a new state that was more progressive than the one we lived in.
Yeah.
Because Wyoming is very, very, very red state. None of the laws are progressive. Every year marijuana decriminalization comes up and it gets beat every year by big pharmaceutical company that's based in the state and the association of like retired sheriffs and shit. So
now, don't the reservations have different laws though?
Reservation follow federal laws, so they're fucking more strict.
Oh, no.
So I beat your ass on the reservation, and I go to federal prison.
Wow.
Federal prison, you have to serve like 85% of your sentence. So
Oof.
yeah. So even if marijuana was legalized in Wyoming, the reservation wouldn't be legal because it falls under federal law. And the only way to absolve yourself of that is to make yourself totally sovereign, which few tribes actually are, and that that absolves all your government ties.
Uh-huh.
But the tribe that I'm enrolled in, the East Shoshone tribe, is kind of a kiss-ass tribe to the government since back in the day. So like we got to pick our reservation, we got to pick where we live.
Yeah.
So we got like where we live in Wyoming, beautiful mountains, lakes, shit like that. 2.2 million acres of land,
Wow.
about a couple hours south of Yellowstone. So, uh,
Did you
but
get a
yeah, that
casino at least?
we do have a casino.
Oh,
Yeah, we don't see anything from it though. Is the thing yet? Like I haven't seen shit from it. I actually worked there too.
Hmm.
When I moved back home a few years ago, I worked there as a security guard. Worst fucking job I ever had.
Yeah.
So yeah, the casino was like as big as a Walgreens maybe. So I just walk in a fucking square all day, look at old people gamble. There was never no drunks, never no fights.
Yeah.
Everyone's civil as fuck, so I'd just be bored. I'd just smoke a joint on my way to work and just be high in the morning. I couldn't do nothing at lunch, but
Yeah.
I would just do that. But yeah, the reservation hosts two tribes: Eastern Shoshone, Northern Arapaho. Northern Arapaho were put there by the government in the late 1800s. So Eastern Shoshone and Northern Arapahos were actually enemies back in the day.
No shit.
Actually fought each other. The Arapahos were fairly gangster tribe. Well, so were the Shoshones when they battled each other in terms of intertribal warfare. But
So
when it came to the government, we kissed ass.
yeah. So is there still like a rivalry? Are you guys like the Bloods and the Crips in Wyoming?
No, not really. There's a lot of interbreeding, and there's people from both sides, that are Shoshone and Arapaho. Like myself, I'm enrolled Shoshone, but I'm made up of four tribes. I'm made up of Eastern Shoshone, Northern Arapaho, Northern Cheyenne, and Rosebud Sioux, which the four different tribes. I'm basically a quarter of each. My grandparents are pretty much full of each tribe, full blood of each tribe.
Yeah.
So, but I'm enrolled. I'm enrolled Eastern Shoshone. So.
Okay. So what does that mean to be enrolled? Like that's just like
It just measures, pretty much tells everyone that you're an Indian, basically.
okay.
You can get a different ID. That's a tribal ID. That's basically a federal ID still.
Okay.
You can use it like a driver's license and shit.
That's cool.
So, it goes by blood quantum. So, say, I married a white woman, so I know I wouldn't be related to her. Basically. So my son by default is half Indian.
Yeah.
But that's still enough to get him enrolled.
Yeah.
So I think the cutoff for the blood is like a quarter,
Okay.
a quarter Indian, and then if you're below that, you can't be enrolled in the tribe.
Okay.
So you can be very little Indian and be enrolled in a tribe. Like you can be a 16th and be enrolled in Cherokee, shit like that.
So like what's is there the traditions and things like that? Are they passed down? I mean,
Oh, they are. Their
Yeah.
traditions, songs, stuff like that. The music, the stories. American Indian history is all. A lot of it is passed down visually, and it was all through storytelling and
Yeah.
through. They didn't keep no records. They painted on hides and shit once in a while. After they beat Custer's ass and painted it, and put it on a hide. But other than that, it was, they showed the kids, this is how you make the teepee. This is how you sing the song.
mhm.
So everything is taught that way. And it shows now, even in American Indians now, there's been research done, and I forgot the research, but it shows that we're better visual learners as opposed to book learners,
Yeah. I
Show
mean,
us
it's
how to do shit, and we'll do it. And that's just, it's part of our DNA still. So
Yeah, and
it's crazy.
art is a big part of the Native Americans. I grew up in the Coachella Valley, and I know there's tribes in there because there's a couple casinos out there.
Yeah.
And they'd have like their events and things like that. And art is always, the art styles and things like that are always, I think they always tell like a story. And there's music too is a big part of it as well. So it's a very expressive,
Yeah.
like kind of a culture.
And the cool thing is every tribe is different. Every
Mhm.
tribe has something different. Like, the tribes probably closer to yours are more so based in Incan and Mayan cultures,
Yeah.
stuff like that, where they could have migrated up and then mixed with some people that came down,
Yeah.
and their drumming is different, their singing is a little different, their dance outfits, shit like that could be
Sure.
a little different. So
Yeah.
it's all different. That's a cool thing about it.
Yeah. So, like, whenever I see, it seems anytime, like, Native American culture, whatever, gets brought up recently, it's always, like, drug issues or alcoholism and things like that. Like, communities or reservations that have a lot of these problems, are they is that everywhere that you know of, or is it just kind of in certain
That's
areas?
genetic, man. That's genetic.
Well,
I agree.
You know.
I agree that it's genetic. Where like we've all heard Rogan say, where alcohol wasn't good for the Indians, because we never had it.
yeah,
We were nomadic. We fucking didn't ferment no berries or nothing. We didn't have time. We were always on the move and shit. Follow the buffalo. Follow the water. Get the fuck out of here for winter.
yeah,
Stuff like that. So and nowadays it's very, it's a big problem, especially alcohol.
yeah,
Drugs. I haven't been in the circles to know. I know they're around, but I don't know
yeah,
how bad they're around, how big they're around. I know meth is coming back around. My dad is a local politician back home. Basically, they have a business council of 6 people who they elect to run the tribal affairs, and he said, they meet with the cops, they meet with the FBI, they do all this shit. And meth and heroin are coming around now. Meth was gone for a while, kind of disappeared, and heroin, he said that they never really seen, but I think that's coming from prescription pill addiction, which
Yeah.
is also big. Uh, on the reservation, and I've seen that firsthand. My mom has had her car broken into, and she has rheumatoid arthritis. I'm trying to get her to move to Colorado to take medical marijuana.
There you go. Yeah.
Instead of fucking morphine every day, But her car got broken into, and they stole her morphine.
It's
Yeah.
the
So
exact same story here, man, with the pills and the heroin.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
the whitest white
Yeah,
Ohio that that there ever is, and
Yeah.
it's the exact same story here. The pills, then the heroin,
Yeah.
then it's fucking everyone up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. I
Yeah.
mean, San Diego, parts of San Diego, there's, meth and all that shit. You get far enough away. It's always the places where there's not a lot of fucking shit going on.
yeah.
It tends to infect.
The alcohol has been fairly devastating on that. I can't speak for other reservations as much as the one I grew up on, and
Yeah.
it's been pretty bad. A lot of people grow up with at least knowing someone that's an alcoholic or that died from alcohol. I've had many family members that have committed suicide or died from alcohol. All that has been the direct cause from alcohol growing up. Through uh, the 90s. I had an older cousin who committed suicide in '93, and he was drunk. And then I had another one in 2005 and 2004, and both alcohol. And I had another cousin who he froze to death from exposure,
Wow.
and he was drunk.
Yeah.
They were fucking drinking in the hills, very rural, and their car broke down or something, and they were trying to walk to a house, and it was fucking cold, wintertime, and he fell down and just passed out, and never woke up, So the alcohol is big. Like I've seen that firsthand. I've seen that ruin shit,
Mm-hmm.
and still, there's still people in my family that are alcoholics and that still have those struggles. My dad, I remember growing up and having my dad being drunk from, I was born in '83, so he stopped drinking in '90. My grandmother passed away in '90, his mom, so he quit drinking then. But I remember before then, he was a violent drunk, I remember they'd drink at the house, and they'd send me to my room with the Nintendo, and I went to go get a pop one night, and my dad's fucking body slamming this dude to the kitchen table,
Yeah.
So I've seen that the alcohol has fucked shit up firsthand, but my dad recognized and was able to quit. He's been sober 24 years now,
Wow.
and a lot of people they don't get that message, and they'll drink themselves to death. They'll die in their early 30s of cirrhosis, or their early 40s, shit like that. Alcohol is a big one. It's the biggie, and it's also I don't know. We're American, Indians were a very loving culture, and I think to a point it faults us,
Mhm.
where we're enablers, like I have an aunt who her husband is an alcoholic, and she'll drive to town every day and buy us pints of vodka, because they don't sell alcohol on a reservation. So
Wow.
it's I don't know, it's kind of a clusterfuck, and not a lot of accountability, we speak a lot of accountability and stuff on Twitter and on the internet, and having people be accountable, being accountable ourselves, and that doesn't go far, especially in impoverished areas,
Yeah.
where these drugs are your crutches, or or that's what you need daily, and that and for someone to come in and tell you that's bad, that's fucking up your whole shit. So
Yeah.
it's the alcohol is the worst. At the same time, I'm able to socially drink. I don't have the gene to where I'll drink for a week straight or stay drunk. Like some of my buddies have done that shit, and I'm like, how do you do it? I'm fucking puking at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's big. It's there's been a lot of reports and shit done on it. But it comes down to personal choice. The big battle you see between American Indians and alcohol is Pine Ridge and White Clay. The Pine Ridge Reservation is right on the southern border of South Dakota, and White Clay, Nebraska is right on the other side of the border. And they sell something like fucking 5 million cans of beer a year or something.
Wow.
And what it is, it's literally like a couple city blocks. You guys walk a couple city blocks down. It's not even a city, but the distance. And they go and they buy their beer, and there's dudes fucking faded, passed out on the side of the road and shit. And it's rough. Like you can Google White Clay, Nebraska, and you'll see some of the pictures in Pine Ridge, and they have on the Pine Ridge side they have medical tents set up and shit for the people that pass out. And it's epidemic proportions, but
That's
it's
crazy.
The American Indians are largely forgotten in America by the government, by everyone. There's only 3 million of us total. So there's fucking more people in Denver than there are American Indians.
Yeah.
Now wait. Do you prefer the term American Indian, or what term? Because I've heard.
Yeah. What are we supposed to call you, man?
No. But I've heard different things. Like I've been to an Indian powwow before, and I've heard, just people have different preferences, like natives or First Nation or different things.
First Nation, more of a Canadian thing.
Yeah,
Canadian people do that shit.
Actually,
I don't mind being called natives, but a lot of people, they're like, native of what? You're like, oh, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
So American Indian just gets it out there, clarifies it, right there. Native American, I don't mind it. Either way, I don't.
Yeah.
I've written both on papers. I've written both in tweets. So I've written Indians. I've written Indians. I've fucking, it's whatever.
And do any of the sports teams' names piss you off personally?
Just the Redskins.
Is that
the only one? And
is it because
that
Dan Snyder's such an asshole?
Yes, exactly. Because he's a cocksucker. Exactly why. That's exactly why. The term is derogatory, and they used it, as a reward term for hunting Indians when, back in the day, you return with 3 Redskin scalps, will give you, fucking $5 or whatever, however much it was back then, and just to show proof that you killed these Indians that were, savages and ran away from their reservations or, whatever.
Yeah.
So with Daniel Snyder, what he did, he tried to do some sneaky shit too. Is he started like I forget what it is, some kind of charity or some shit.
Oh, that's the thing that Stephen Colbert got in trouble for.
Yeah. He's trying to buy off tribes. What he did was like he went to this. It's the first Americans Foundation or some shit. Anyway, he created it and he tries to throw money at these tribes. He tried to give money to this tribe in Arizona to build their skate park. And the tribe refused it. They were like, fuck you, change the name,
Yeah.
So, you see some progression towards it being changed. I think it's going to be the type of thing that's going to have to be like a domino effect. You go one by one, it's the Redskins, then it's someone next. And then, like, you've seen that already with some college team with North Dakota being the Fighting Sioux,
Mm-hmm.
Like they got I forget what they had to come to an agreement with the tribe for that or something. And same with I think Florida State has an agreement with their tribe, with the Seminoles, and they get free tuition and shit, tribal members if they want to go. So that.
Now, what about the Cleveland Indians?
The Cleveland Indians are all right. The Chief Wahoo looks racist as fuck, but they haven't. The past couple years they haven't really used that logo. They used the C. On the caps, just the red C.
Yeah, they've held it back, and he's like the Sambo for Native Americans.
Yeah, yeah.
But here's the thing, I think it's just that Cleveland sucks so bad that no
That's
one
why it
cares.
should be offensive.
Yeah,
You
it's
should be
like,
offended. The
but
team should be better.
Indians, I mean, what? Yeah, it's Cleveland. Let them have it. Fuck it. Let's not take anything more from these people.
I don't know, man. You better hold your breath. They might be next. They
Yeah.
might just be fucking moving from east to west. The
I'm not
reverse,
a- I'm not
the
an
reverse
Indians fan.
European on sports teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna go one by one and try to change everyone. No, that's the only one that's the only one that's really gaining attention right now, you know. But that's the only reason I'm against this because and he's been a known cunt before that. You know, Daniel Snyder has
Yeah.
charging fucking $20 to park to see Redskins training camp and shit like that. You know, charging $5 for a bottle of water and. He used to own this. He owned a lot of Six Flags, and he owned the Six Flags in Denver. And the city actually bought the park back from him because they're like, "Fuck you!" They didn't renew his lease because he was price gouging everything. So
Jesus.
At the Indian powwow that I went to, I saw two different kids though with the Chief Wahoo shirt. Now, would that be considered a Native American hipster?
probably, kinda. I don't know.
I just thought it was funny because I'm like, I look over and I'm like, what?
It's ironic, bro.
I was in Vegas, and for some reason, like this summer, fucking everyone has a headdress shirt, like Indian headdress shirt, dudes and chicks, you know.
Mhm.
So I just walk by and I'd be like, nice shirt, you know, and they'd be like, oh shit, a real Indian, you know, pretty much. But I don't. The kids are misinformed too, you know. You got to think. Even though they have access to the internet, they're still just gonna look at the dumb shit, you know.
Yeah.
I have a little sister who's 14, and she wastes all her data in a week on Instagram, you know.
Holy
So-
shit. On
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
That's
she's-
insane.
She's on the phone plan. We had to cut her off, but you know, some people I like the artistic interpretations of the logos and stuff. You know, like I've seen the Cleveland Indians logo with the bandana on its face. You know, like make it look like a renegade type shit, or you know, I've seen some like a Guy Fawkes type mask with the headdress. You know, that shit looks cool. You know,
Yeah.
I would wear that. You know, but I wouldn't wear any Redskins or Chiefs or any native shit just to show people that I'm native, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because it's cool. But I think a lot of people are a lot misinformed about real world issues, especially in rural areas, impoverished areas, you know, like on the reservation, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a real world conversation. That's one thing that, you know, every day I'd go to work and it'd be the same people. My boss was an old man. He was 70. The secretary was like 60. You know, I couldn't have like real conversations, you know. And then to go out and try to have a meaningful, insightful conversation with somebody about anything is fucking hard, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to kind of guide them through and, you know, show them this or tell them what this is. And you know, I don't want to say people are dumb. This is misinformed. You
No,
know?
I'll
they
say,
are.
yeah,
No.
we say it all the time. People are
Stupid as
fucking
fuck.
stupid.
I'll vouch for that.
Yeah.
People
Look,
in general, and
I see
I'm
thousands
not-
of
I'm not a
people
fucking
every day,
genius.
and most of them are pretty fucking stupid.
yeah.
There's
I'm a firm believer though. I used to work in a residential treatment facility with kids, and the fuck ups are the ones that, you know, would just kind of not just be there. You know, I would just tell them, you know, the world needs idiots too, so that's fine. You know.
you know what? I was kind of a fuck up through like maybe like high school and shit,
Yeah.
but it was just because schools. I had no good teachers. Like it's so impossible to learn when everyone's just there for a paycheck.
yeah.
I don't give a fuck. And here's the teachers that taught in my high school had been teaching so long. They had my dad in school, and so like
Yeah,
there's
well,
That's
the big
insane.
brother effect in like small
yeah.
schools.
Yeah.
You-
Yep.
If your big brother was an asshole, you get the reputation of your older brother. Well, these teachers have been there so long. My dad was an asshole. His brother was 1 year younger than him, so they were like a 1-2 punch of assholes. And then I come like 20 years later, and they're like, "Fuck this kid."
So you didn't have a chance.
you had a reputation to live up to. Keith.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah,
Was it the
and so I was
reputation?
like, "Fuck this school." I
Yeah.
don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Which
So
I mean,
what'd you end up doing? Did you stay in school or?
No, I mean, like I said, I'm not stupid. So like I was smart enough to not do any homework and find
Yeah.
a way to still get decent grades. Like
Yeah.
I graduated like upper middle of the class, like
That's good. Yeah.
not anywhere close to the top, but
Yeah.
definitely a little above average.
Yeah.
On no effort. Like I took
Exactly.
no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's shitty teachers
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
me too.
Well,
I
and
had-
it's like
I learned a very valuable lesson of how to cheat my way through life in high school.
oh yeah. Yeah, those are the lessons you learn. Like
That's what
that
I learned.
shit you kept, but like everything else that they taught, most of the shit is fucking wrong anyway. I mean, except for like science, but like the history shit and all that stuff is like it's such a
Like
skimming
sending
of
low-level prisoner, low-level criminal into prison
yeah.
Yeah.
for 4 years, and then he comes out and he's like, "All I learned in there is to be how to be a way better criminal."
Yeah, yeah.
And you're
Exactly.
like, yeah, "That's what I learned."
Yeah.
I was looking back, high school was fucking 12 years ago for me, my senior year, and we had to graduate with like 30 credits, 32 credits. But the fucked up thing was we only needed 2 years of science in Wyoming. They have like some of the lowest science standards in the nation.
Wow.
It's a big Christian state, so
When I
yeah.
Wow.
I took
That's crazy.
science and basic biology or something.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah,
have like we had to take science, the whole science, math, English, and then you had a couple elective kind of things. But
Yeah. It fucked me when I went to college. I had to take remedial science shit, like some remedial biology shit. And,
uh-huh.
like I didn't remember shit. I took
Oh, yeah.
chemistry for the first time in college, and it was crazy because high school didn't really, like you said, you learn all the other stuff, but the books,
Yeah.
Like I was dumb in high school. I did just enough to get by, and I had to go to summer school once, and I played sports, so I did enough to be eligible,
Mm-hmm.
to play sports. But my parents were divorced, so I played that card to the fullest. Tell my parents I'm here and I'm gonna go there, and so like you said, you learn everything else. You learn all the degenerate shit.
My school didn't want you to even fucking be there. We had we graduated 90 in a class usually. That's about the average there. That was
Yeah.
like my class graduated.
Jesus.
Uh,
That's
and
it.
there were 3 different programs in my school. No, 4. Sorry, 4 different programs that you could get out early your junior and senior year to go work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think most schools have
Had
a similar type
OWE,
of
which
thing.
was what they referred to as the troubled kids, like the dropout program. Then we had DECA, which was a marketing program, which would let you go out and work. And then we had FFA, and then we had like a tech
Yeah.
school that you could go through that was called Millstream, where you could learn on-hand shit for like half a day, and then your senior year you'd get
Yeah.
half the day off. I only needed 3 credits my senior year. So I went half a day. I got out after 4th period. Third period. I had 2 classes and a study hall, and then I got out.
Yeah, my school was dumb. I had to have 8 classes. We had 4 classes a day, so 4 classes a day. We had to have 6 to be eligible for sports. Passing 6 classes. I needed like 3 or 4 credits going into my senior year, so I was about done. I needed English. I needed government. I needed a math, and I think that was all I needed. Everything else was just to fill up the shit. And I had a class where it was like a study hall. It was like for the athletes that had basically just for the athletes so they could have a class to pass to be eligible
Mm-hmm.
for the senior athletes. So I'd be in there with the skiers, with the fucking girl basketball players, the indoor track kids, and we'd just be studying and shit, And I would
Skiers? You had a high school ski team?
They
Yeah,
have
yeah.
I
surf.
love how you said it so
Yeah.
nonchalantly. He's like, I'd be in there with the skiers. That's like, for me, that'd be like, I'm in there with the skaters. And I guess
No,
for
that
you,
is-
in there with
I'm
the
in
surf-
there with the bowlers. I'm in there with the
Cross-country
surfers.
skiing, too. It's not even cool skiing.
Oh,
it's
the
that
shit
cross-country
is skiing.
Yeah.
The shuffling,
man.
the shuffling in snow.
They shuffle on the street
Yeah.
when there's no snow and shit.
It's an
Yeah.
elliptical. It's
I've been training,
pre-elliptical
bro.
elliptical.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and I had a hard time passing that class just because it was so boring. I didn't smoke weed then. In high school. I didn't smoke weed till my 20s. I grew up.
Okay.
I was a good kid. I was always let my parents know where I was at that night, and never really gave them a reason to worry. But I still fucked around a lot, still had my fair share of fun times. But looking back, along like the concrete learning, my teachers, stuff I was supposed to learn, people that were there to influence, it's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not there. The best experience I have from high school are hanging out with my buddies, playing basketball at their house, fucking with their cars, and playing sports. Like everything else is fucking just blacked out. Because I don't like teachers. I remember faces, but I'll have to remember the name like days later.
Oh yeah.
There's no impression.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people just try and block out high school for a lot of reasons. Like, I don't know, just don't remember shit. I don't know if it's on purpose
fun,
or.
But it was all not in class. It was like I had fun in 3-minute increments in the hallway in between classes or at lunch.
Yeah.
Like that was it.
Yeah.
Or I was a teacher's aide through most of high school, for my study hall every year. And that teacher was a cool dude, which ended up being a weird dude, but still cool.
Is that the guy that wanted
my teacher
wanted you to film an
propositioned me to have sex with his wife. This was after I graduated.
You were a really good teacher's aide, Keith. Jesus.
And he offered me money to have sex with his wife, and I was like, nah. And then he offered me double to videotape him and his wife, and I was like,
okay,
nah.
Keith doesn't like money. He's like, nah.
I was 18, and this dude was just my teacher, and it was just weird. Like, I was drinking.
I'm not ready to direct yet, okay?
I was like, I thought it was a trap. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, is this dude trying to fuck me? Like, I don't.
Maybe.
You never know. Yeah.
He's like, no, hold the
Especially-
camera like this, Keith.
And he was way bigger than me. So, like, if he wanted, especially at that time in my life, if he wanted, I was like,
Were you still in the same small town too? So
yeah.
So eventually people could probably know that shit, man.
Actually, it's funny because I told the story to some of my little sister's friends years later, and one of her friends is like, "Yeah, I did that," and I was like,
Nice.
"What? So you went through it?" He's like, "Yeah, I did," and I was like, "So I've been dying to know my entire life. How was it? Like, what happened? Like, what? If I'd have rolled the dice that night, and I don't know. I'm glad I didn't because, like, I still see this guy from time to time, and it's like, it would be so much more awkward. It's like,
fuck yeah.
Yeah. But
last
still,
time I saw him with his wife too, and
the story would be
how awkward that would be later in life to be like,
Just be like-
after 15 years later, be like,
It would just be awkward for you. For them, it's no thing because they do that shit all the time.
clearly,
You
yeah.
give those awkward glares to no one. Like they love that shit. So you would just be in the inner circle, maybe. You should have just made. You gotta gauge it depending on how close he would sit to you in the room. If he would sit next to.
Here's the thing that killed me about it.
Keith is bouncing on the bed with him.
He lived like 15 miles away or like 20 miles away in a different town. So he was trying to take me there from like a party in the town that he taught and I lived in. So I was like, this is really weird because like I don't even have a way to leave afterward.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, so I'm trapped there and have to like wake up awkwardly to like, hey, remember when you watched me? Because I didn't think he would just be like, hey, go ahead, go into the bedroom and have sex with my wife. I'll be out and you guys tell me how it went afterwards.
Fucking cup to the door.
Yeah, jerking off. I was like, oh, Keith, it's so good.
Something he wants to watch. And so that's going to be...
You're getting an A. You're getting an A.
Oh, man.
You raise small town, you got to worry about weirdos. There's a lot more weirdos in small towns, so they're more pronounced.
It's fine.
I grew up, and there would be this guy in my hometown. I grew up in Lander, Wyoming, where I went to school. I grew up in Fort Wasco, Wyoming, actually. But I went to high school in Lander, Wyoming, and there'd be this guy, and he was like a fucking stalker at the supermarket. He would stalk the shelves and shit. But he would get kicked out of the swimming pool for taking a video camera in there to swim meets and shit. Fucking weirdo, like just straight up, he'd take like a VHS camcorder in there.
Yeah.
It's like 2000. He would
Every-
Yeah,
take
which
off.
was a big thing back
Yeah.
then. Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
like
so the weirdos are just more pronounced. You're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that
But
guy's a
see,
fucking.
the difference is in the small town, we know who the weirdos are.
Mm-hmm.
that's true.
The dangerous ones are living in a big city where there's so many more weirdos per capita,
Yeah.
or maybe not even per capita, but it's just that you don't know them. Like
Yeah.
small,
Yeah.
growing up in a village, we had a guy that we called the professor, and he rode around with a lampshade on his head. The fucking professor, all right?
Probably not a good professor, but he's doing
Actually,
science.
the guy was like one of those brilliant guys that just kind of went crazy.
yeah.
And but we had all these different characters in where I grew up, and what's weird is like, and as a little kid, you're just fucking a horrible person, especially depending on who you're around. But like there was some mentally challenged people in my town that like there was a girl that lived on like a corner, like either if you were going to the school or going to the park, you had to go by this house. It was right on a corner, and she wore a helmet and sat on the porch all the time and would like
Yeah.
hit herself in the head.
hmm
So like that was like, we all knew that girl. Or there
Which
was
you had a name that you don't want to say on the show.
Well,
yeah.
No, I don't know her name. And
No,
that's
but
what-
you had a name for her. Was she? You have Professor. You have characters, right? You have names for all these characters.
She was just the helmet girl.
Okay, there you go.
Helmet
Helmet Girl.
Girl.
so
Then
she had
there
a
was
name.
Curly, which that was his name, but he had like Down syndrome or I don't know. It wasn't Downs. He was severely mentally retarded, but he'd ride his bike around.
Yeah. Well, at
And,
least they're not offensive names. I mean, they're kind of. He probably had
But
curly hair.
No, but we were all dicks. Like he
Yeah.
had broken the sinks in the park bathroom at one point, and all the kids found out about it, and we would all taunt him. Curly broke the sinks at the park, and Curly was always known for he'd take like a whole can of chew, and like line his entire like jaw to jaw, and just where it was just spilling out of his
Just
mouth.
praying for cancer.
But he had like a very severe speech impediment, and he'd be like, "Fuck you, motherfuckers!" And like one time he pulled a knife on me and my friend. I watched him rip a stop sign out of the ground, which, if you don't know how hard that is,
Yeah.
like
mentally retarded people are strong as fuck, though.
yeah,
Retard
yeah,
strength.
they don't even know. Yeah, it's like-
Science.
Huge dicks too.
Yeah.
but then we had
I don't want to know how you know that, but
we had the
Like
very
I said,
specific.
I worked in residential treatment.
Oh, yeah.
I've had kids that would come from psychiatric facilities, mental facilities, lockdown places,
yeah.
and they would tell me, this guy said, I was in this pod with 4 retards and they all retarded out once a day, but they had huge dicks. This guy said,
I've
fucking
heard
yeah.
that too. I've heard that. Too.
Yeah.
Just that
Yeah.
I mean, that's I guess if you lose in one area, I guess it compensates in another. Just like, yeah, I'm stupid, but look at the size of this thing.
Yeah, I know some of these guys need parody accounts on Twitter. Like they're that badass. Not to be mean, but they're like,
Yeah.
there was a dude that from my hometown. He was a retarded guy, and he would just chill at McDonald's like all day. And he was nice as fuck. He had Down syndrome. Down syndrome way bad, but he'd come say hi to you and he'd bring you the newspaper and shit. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not like they are nice people,
Yeah,
And they-
looking back, I feel like a horrible asshole for ever making fun of these people as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, but you don't know. I mean, when you don't know, you don't have any exposure to them. You don't.
Yeah.
You just assume that whatever, and you're a fucking asshole kid. You think you know everything. Like what you know at
Yeah.
that point is everything. It's
Well,
there's
I-
nothing
a lot
left,
of it
bro.
was
I got it.
Joining in, someone else starts yelling, and then you start yelling.
Yeah.
It's that young person mob mentality that kids could get wrapped up in.
Yeah,
yeah,
adults get
I-
wrapped up in that shit.
Everyone. does.
exactly.
It's the human experience, man. To
Ugh.
just get locked
Gross.
up into talking massive shit
Like,
about
fuck
people
him,
that
and
are
you're like,
around.
yeah, fuck him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I say, man. There's very few people in this world I hate. I try to give everyone a chance, but I'll purposely avoid you if I know you're a piece of shit, or
Oh yeah.
if I can tell that you're not going to bring anything positive to my life.
Yeah.
I'm very good at weeding people out now. And people will say that's alienating. Like there's friends that I haven't heard from in months. Since I moved to Colorado, and it's not on my end. You know, I still
Mhm.
have friends that come through and visit, but other friends I don't hear from at all. You know, so it's a lot of fallen contact and stuff
Yeah.
with them, but
I mean, when you think,
it is what it is.
yeah, and you're constantly changing as a human. The older you get, like I wouldn't be. I don't know if I'd be friends with me 10 years ago. You know.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
the friends I had 10 years ago, like you don't necessarily like. There's for some people they still hold on to their friends, which maybe they all grow together or whatever. But
That's
sometimes
that's
people
Wyoming.
don't change.
Wyoming is small, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking 600,000 people in the whole state. You know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, man, it's nuts. So it's very small. So I've had a lot of the same friends in childhood. You know.
Yeah. So that's got to be even more difficult to cut people out then.
Yeah. Well.
On some level. Well, I guess
Yeah.
you move to a place that's got a lot more people.
Yeah. So that's cool. You know.
Yeah,
That's a cool thing, and a lot more like-minded people is the thing about it. You know.
for sure. Yeah.
Even a lot of my friends that I grew up with, and a lot of my white friends were very, very conservative, very Christian household. You know, grew up in that
Mhm.
type of thing, and that's how they are now. You know, uh, and no fault on them. You know, that's how they were taught. That's how they were brought up. You know, there's no wrong way to live life if you're getting shit done. You know, so but I understand. People get busy, people change,
Yeah.
and like you said, we are ever evolving. Like we try to learn something new every day.
Hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully.
It's the scary thing is when people don't change. Like the
Exactly.
guys you knew when you were 20 are still doing the same shit, acting the same. They didn't do anything different, and
Yeah.
they don't understand why their life is falling apart. It's like cuz
Exactly.
you haven't fucking done anything different. You're on the same fucking course you've always been, and
Exactly.
you're running
And,
into the same wall. You're insane. You've just proven that you're insane.
That's what
On
kind
some
of
level.
that's what kind of happened to me. You know, I didn't know what to do after high school.
Yeah.
I graduated with a fucking 2.0 GPA. The thing that saved me was I had a high ACT score. I got a 27, which was high for a minority. So
And out of the
Damn
minorities,
affirmative action.
yeah,
Yeah,
out of minorities, Native Americans are probably the most, like, the smallest community, I would say.
yeah, we are.
I mean,
Like,
Mexicans are considered a minority, but they're
gonna be
fucking
the
everywhere.
majority in
Yeah.
like 20
Mexicans
years.
are everywhere though.
Yeah, exactly.
There are 5 Mexicans in my
Denver.
dumpster in my alley right now.
Yeah, I was about to say Denver is. I've been to Denver. There's a
Yeah.
lot of Mexicans in Denver.
Yeah, my son's school, when you walk in, it says welcome. We live in the place we live in has a lot of Russian people too, older Russians, and like they have kids and their kids have kids. So when my son goes to school, it says welcome in Spanish and English and Russian.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool, pretty cool. Like
But a
street
lot of
sign-
people like it's not just like second generation, third generation Mexicans. These are people straight from Mexico.
straight from yes.
Like and
So they're-
Denver is their destination.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that they think if they get north enough,
Yeah,
they're like
it's
they're just like,
saturated
"Yeah."
everywhere else, bro.
I think well that and it's a hub too. You know, you could go east, west, north,
Yeah.
south from here. You know,
Yeah.
and that's good. You know, for them.
Or they just
That-
like
that-
weed, and
Exactly,
they're like,
and
fucking why not?
That's a cool thing. Is I haven't smoked. You know, I haven't smoked any swag in a year. You know, I haven't smoked anything that a Mexican got his head cut off for. You know,
Yeah,
no brick weed or nothing. So that's good for me.
it's
They're
guilt
losing
free.
shitloads of money. The cartels are fucking. This is the weed boom in the U.S. with all the medical states, and then Colorado,
Legalization.
Washington legalizing it, and then just people. Shit, I fucking live in Ohio, and it's I've probably been in a good deal of small operations, and just random basements all over the state.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's just the people that I've met, and I don't know that many fucking people.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's how when Amendment 64 passed in Colorado, the legalization, they had to set up the system for the stores and all that shit. Took about a year, but what it did was it sent a market to Craigslist. So you could go to Craigslist and you would type in Amendment 64. You could do this yourself. Go to Denver Craigslist and type in Amendment 64, and you'll see all these delivery services of people selling medical marijuana and shit.
yeah,
Selling marijuana. And that's how I used to get it before I moved to the state. Like I come down for a Nuggets game and I hit up Craigslist, buy a bag or whatever. And it for most every time I did it, it was legit. There's stories of people being robbed and stuff like that. It does get sketchy But the people that I dealt with, it was pretty cool, and the guys they did it under was you pay for my gas, and I bring you can have this for free.
Yeah. In
So
California, it's all donation. So it's like they
yeah,
don't say
donation.
you're
Yeah,
not paying, $60 for an eighth. You're
Yeah,
donating
yeah.
$60 as goodwill for the
Exactly,
the eighth of
exactly.
Blue Dream you just got.
It,
But
wa- it, it was cool, but when I moved to the state, I came down and I got my medical marijuana card the first
uh-huh.
week. Got my ID the first day I lived here.
Now,
My
why
driver's
did you
license.
go medical? Oh, it wasn't legal yet when you moved?
It wasn't legal.
Okay.
It was like 3 months out from being legal, and
Okay.
the reason I went for
Medical's cheaper though, right?
it's cheaper, and you have to renew it every year.
Yeah.
Is the thing, but the reason I did it was I have degenerative disc disease. I have a bad lower back
Is that from sports?
playing football in a car wreck in high school.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and basketball. I'm 6'2", 310 pounds, but I used to be like
Oh,
6'2".
little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tiny.
yeah. So I used to be like 6'2", 280 in high school, and like actually lifted weights and did shit.
Yeah.
And after that, after high school, I stopped lifting weights because I was just lazy, and my back fucked up. I got in a car wreck, and it got wrecked in football because football's fun. You just fly around and shit.
Yeah.
So what I did was, in Wyoming, I heard it. It would hurt. It would get hurt like once every couple years. I heard it playing basketball, and it would just lock up, and I would get sciatica in my leg, my left leg, and that would be the bad thing. I got atrophy from the sciatica
Oh, no.
twice. I had surgery in 2004 on the back where they cut out the bulging part of the disc, and then I had a bunch of steroid injections and a bunch of other shit in 2011 and 2012 when I heard it again. But the long story short is they gave me a fuckload of pharmaceuticals. They gave me hydrocodone up the ass. They gave me gabapentin, which is a nerve blocker,
Mm-hmm.
which made it where I couldn't feel the nerve pain, but it didn't really do nothing for it.
Yeah.
So what I did was I stopped all that and I just started smoking medical marijuana. I stopped it all, and because it made me like balloon to like 400 pounds. It
Wow.
fucking made me feel like I was gonna die. I was like fat, I
Yeah.
just eat and just be tired all the time. And I almost fell asleep driving home. I live like 30 miles from where I work, so there's times where I would just fucking be tired. I would like they call it micro sleep, and I would just fucking lose it just for a second. I'd be almost in the other lane.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck this. So I stopped it and I started doing. I did physical therapy while I did it, but what was fucking me up was the weight. So I stopped all that and I just started dropping the weight.
Yeah.
Smoking weed and just dropped the weight. I got back down to like 300 pounds. I had the physical therapy. So I made it a point to get the card when I moved down here.
Nice.
For my health, and there's different stuff. There's everything you can think of they make with marijuana in it.
Yes, they do.
I've used creams. I use the cream on my back. I've used the oils. I dab a lot. So it does wonders for the back pain, especially the high CBD strains, which are hard to come across. I come across them in a dispensary. I'll usually buy like a quarter or something,
Yeah.
and I'll grind it up and mix it with the sativa or something, and you'll feel it 2-3 hits in. Your back pain will be gone.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. The high CBD shit like Rubicon or Harlequin, stuff like that. The most popular one is Charlotte's Web.
From
That's
the
the one that they use for the
CNN.
kids. Yeah, the one that they use for the kids and stuff. So I've never came across that.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, but the ones that are high CBD, I do like to smoke that flower.
Yeah.
It's good. You get very good pain relief for it.
Mhm.
Plus, you get high as balls. That's the best side effect from it. You
Yeah.
get baked.
The only medicine out there where the side effects are positive.
Exactly.
It's not like it's not
Yeah.
something that they would have to when the infomercials for weed come out. They're not gonna have to
Exactly.
have the fast talker guy. They could be
Yeah.
like, "Bro, you feel amazing" is a side effect.
And
Sorry.
I'm not anti big pharmaceutical by any means.
Mhm.
I understand people have different afflictions and different shit wrong with them.
I am to a certain point
Stuff-
though.
stuff helps them.
They're dicks and they advertise and they try to push shit and
It's everything is fast tracked. That's why you go to like baddrug.com and it has every drug
Yeah.
that you could file a lawsuit for. My dad took a pill for blood pressure, Lipitor, and it gave
Well,
him type
that should
it gave him
kill
type 2 diabetes. And
Jesus.
he never had diabetes before, never had no symptoms, and he
So
had
did-
it now.
Did it just kill his pancreas or something like that?
Oh, what it did was it kind of just shut down his pancreas.
Yeah.
You know, 5 years later, 5 years down the road, you find out that that's a side effect of it. And you get a
Jesus.
part of a lawsuit for it. You know.
Yeah, yeah, because they don't.
So-
They're making so much fucking money.
Yeah,
That's why you can sue them. Like they have a website where you can just like, oh okay, because they
Yeah.
don't care. They have money. The free market, guys. That's
It's a money grab.
Absolutely.
Medicine as a whole is a money grab. You know.
yeah,
That's why
Doctors
nothing
aren't there-
gets cured.
No.
Doctors aren't there to keep you well.
yeah,
Nothing
You know,
gets
and
cured
so-
because the
yeah.
money's in the return, not the cure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If there's a actually they just found a pill that is like eradicating AIDS in monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Like evidently they give monkeys AIDS or monkeys have AIDS, and then they've given them this pill that like kills it now. And I bet
Johnson
you
bought all of them.
I bet you so much money. Even if the pill gets released, it won't be for 20 some years until
Exactly.
a whole
Yeah,
shitload
that
more
one
people
they
die.
won't fast track.
But yet, Viagra was a heart pill
yeah,
that everyone came back who was in the original studies and were like, "Hey, it's not helping my heart condition, but my
my
fucking
dick condition. yeah.
is raging hard, harder than it's ever been before in my life." And
The
they're
best dick I've ever seen
like,
on
and
me.
every dude in that study was like, "Really?
Yeah,
We
that's
found
amazing.
the magic elixir."
Yeah.
and one
that
old lady,
shit
she's
was
like,
on the
"Hmm."
market like 2 weeks later. They're like, "We got a hard dick pill," and some shill at the FDA goes, "Sold."
Really?
Really?
My wife is
Yeah.
going to be very happy on our anniversary.
All you got to do is bring a fucking briefcase to the FDA, and they're like, "Cool."
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
I mean, the government is run by big
The
business,
head of
so
the
it's
FDA
like, you know,
was a former big pharma guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, yeah. and he's got a nice
uh,
job waiting for him when he's done in the government.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I was with big pharma, but now they want me to head up the regulatory commission for what I used to work in. It's
Yeah.
the same thing as putting lobbyists on commissions
Exactly.
for the shit that they're lobbying for.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, what,
It's
what the fuck are you
ridiculous.
doing?
It's ridiculous, man. It's
It's
fucking
like
stupid.
it's like a revolving circle of "I fucking hate you all," basically.
Yeah,
It's
Is what it is. It's sickening
how
to think about
fucked up-
sometimes. It's like government is one step above child molesters in my list of sick fucks. You know.
But we can all see it. That's what kills me. We can all
Yeah.
see how
Yeah.
fucked it up it is.
because
and
we're
that-
so distracted, man. We're distracted by
it
the
is.
fucking reality shows. We're distracted by
Yeah.
the quote unquote
But
news.
still, how
you know?
I mean, even if we're not, yeah, a large group is distracted, but I mean, they can pull up story after story or
Mm-hmm.
clip after clip of politicians contradicting themselves, or pull up that they're just lying 90% of the time, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Fuck them," but everyone gets reelected somehow.
Yeah,
Like, how in the fuck does that happen? Like, all right, everyone hates politicians, but they never get beat.
Yeah.
yeah.
Everyone's
So
in
why-
Congress for fucking life, pretty much.
Wyoming has Democrats, and they have like very few minority Democrats, and they're basically just there for show. You know, they get outvoted and fucking everything they do, and stuff like that. It's just pretty much you put on a suit for show. You know, which is why politics interests me to a point, but the process that the country follows now doesn't. You know.
Yeah.
Bro,
And yeah, it's broken, and a lot of Indians will talk about treaty rights and treaties being followed and shit like that, but no treaty has ever been followed. Nothing's
Yeah.
ever been upheld. So it's a crutch, like you said, people are misinformed, they're distracted, and then it's like, oh, treaty rights, it's like, where the fuck have you been the last 50, 60 years,
Yeah.
Nothing has happened. Look at the biggest Indian uprising has been, AIM in the 70s. And that's a fucking conspiracy right now, Nobody knows what happens other than, Leonard Peltier is in prison, and the FBI agents were dead, But
What is that?
Nobody-
What is that? What are you talking
Oh,
about? I have no
you
idea
got-
what you're talking about.
you got to look up. It's called American Indian Movement,
Okay.
AIM. They were kind of a radical Indian movement that were founded in the late 60s, 70s by
they're like the Black Panthers, but for Indians.
Kinda, yeah. So what happened was in the 70s they kind of had different leaders, different sects, based around South Dakota, Minnesota, up around that way, North Dakota. And what they did was they had they would do events at powwows and shit. And I'm reading off their Wikipedia here. but they would have like marches, and their marches were to restore treaty making, you know, to do that. And at the time on the reservation this was happening in South Dakota, the government was kind of ran by a guy who had his own militia.
Okay.
So what it was is when you look up let me see here, the Wounded Knee incident, 1973,
Mm-hmm.
happened in 1973, and it's 200 Oglala Lakota and members of the American Indian Movement seized and occupied the town of Wounded Knee, South Dakota, on the Pine Ridge Reservation. So what it did was they took over the town pretty much, and that brought in the government.
Uh-huh.
And so the government kind of hung around on the outside and kind of boxed them in. And it was like FBI, U.S. Marshals, state police, shit like that.
So it turns
And-
into like the fucking culty things that happen wherever they, you know,
kind of Waco-y.
but like manufactured to
Yeah.
be more of like that because they boxed them in. That's crazy.
Yeah. So what happened was, you know, they had meetings. They would bust senators in, and they would meet with the main AIM guys and try to get shit worked out. And what had happened was they were trying to get the main guy removed from power on the reservation, and his name was what the fuck was this dude's name? The main dudes from AIM were Dennis Banks and Russell Means. They were the two leaders. But what happened was.
Those don't sound like Native American names.
You know,
but-
AIM is the name of a criminal organization in Marvel Universe, right?
Really?
Advanced
it's-
Idea
They
Mechanics.
probably stole it from the Native Americans.
It's actually, I'm actually going to steal it soon. It's the name of one of my brainchilds that I have coming up soon. I have a website that I'm working on. It's hopefully going to be live by October.
Okay.
And I'm gonna steal it. Partly.
That's okay.
Partially. Yeah, exactly.
It's
But
fucking-
what happened was
It's the American way.
Eventually, they protested and all this stuff, and the government brought in all these guns, and two federal agents ended up getting killed somehow in a shootout. And what they did was they pinned it on this guy, and they made people do like forced confessions and stuff, basically.
Yeah.
Like they go back later and recant their confessions, say that this guy was there and this guy did that. And anyway, Leonard Peltier ended up getting locked up for it, for the murders, and he's still in prison right now. He's still alive. You know, they make he still does a lot of activist work out of prison, and people still do a lot of activism work for him to try to get him released. You know, but every president that since I've been alive has had the chance to pardon him and hasn't. You know. And there's a documentary about this called Incident at Oglala, and it came out around 91, 92. I watched it on VHS back in the day with my dad, and that's what kind of got me into this. There's also a book about it called In the Spirit of Crazy Horse, and it's a really short read, 200-300 pages, and it's the most accurate account of what happened here.
Okay.
And you know, like I said, I know a little bit about it. It's not my tribe, so I know loosely about it. I can cite some shit, but it's the biggest thing that has happened with Indians, you know, the last 100 years, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy. See, and I didn't know about it, so.
Yeah, so you know, Indians
cool.
have only been citizens in the country since 1924.
Wow.
So yeah, and then they had the Indian
Well, you had
organization.
to
Yeah.
They had the Indian Reorganization Act, I think, in 1934. And that was to teach Indians how to govern themselves. So they would go and teach government to tribes that didn't have government.
Which the United States is still trying to do in other places. Like, we'll
And
teach you how to
and,
be.
and it doesn't work. Like you guys said, it doesn't work. So
We're going to teach you how to be Americans. Now,
We're not even
assimilation.
good at being
Yeah.
Americans. So
Yeah, exactly.
what kind of stuff you got in the ground here? What can we dig out? And we'll teach you how to be Americans.
Yeah, all right.
The-
If there's some sort
the middle of the
oil
map, we're going to
crisis-
turn to dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there was some sort of oil crisis, like massive oil crisis, and they found out there was oil under every Indian reservation that there is in America, you better fucking believe you gotta move.
Yeah, well, that's Indian tribes will actually lease out their land to be drilled on. If they have enough land, or even if they don't have enough land, they'll let companies come and explore on their land. And our tribe that I grew up on, we've done it with natural gas and crude oil,
Yeah.
along with I don't know what the fuck else, but we get every year, like we have part of the reservation is like sagebrush desert, so nobody lives there, nothing, open land. So that's where they drill for this shit, and they find it.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a check every month. It's called a per capita check, and it's based on the oil and mineral royalties.
It's crazy.
So if the oil is booming, then you get a bigger cut.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but
every
who's looking over?
Yeah. Who's running the finances
who's
on that?
checking the meter?
No. Here's what you got to hear. This last summer in May, we got a settlement check for $24,000, $12,000 for each member, my son and I. And then what it was the government ripped people off, and they didn't give royalties on wells that were on reservation land in the 20s and 30s. So what they did was one of the business councils went back to D.C. in the 70s and lobbied with Congress, and they reached an agreement. So what they did was they settled for a set amount, which was like 200 million or something, so to be dispersed throughout the tribal members.
Yeah.
So each tribal member got a cut, but it's not even from our generation, not even from people that it's from 2-3 generations ago.
I'm like,
it's
something.
Yeah, we all are, Keith.
What
Yeah,
the
we
fuck
all
is
are.
my
Yeah.
check?
Yeah.
but it's from the government ripping us off.
Yeah,
basically. From fucking almost 90 years ago. So it's crazy that people even had the foresight to go back and lobby for that in Washington. So for us to get it, they went back in '79, and it took them till 2004 to get it done.
That's cool. though.
So yeah, so
it's fucking cool that they fixed it. Not cool that they went
So,
fucking forever without being
At
called
least
on their shit.
you got a cut of it during your
Yeah.
prime. Like,
that's good.
imagine if you've been waiting on that shit for like all of a sudden you're 85 and that shit comes through and you're croaked.
Or
and
you
like,
get it early. You get it.
bitch.
You're a teenager and you're like, you just spend it on stupid
Oh,
shit.
That's
Exactly.
At least-
it's been cool because I haven't had to work, since.
Yeah.
Well, I moved down and I saved a lot of money. I've been really frugal. I had a friend that I worked in the residential treatment facility with, and he taught me how to be cheap as shit.
It's a life skill for sure.
He was not like the cheapskate shit you see on TV,
Mhm.
but almost. So I was very good at budgeting my shit for a while, and I lived off a few $1,000s that I saved. I budgeted the move and lived off that, and then the settlement came, so I haven't had to get a job. So it's been cool. So
you're like, so I'm gonna start an internet project.
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm
That's
actually
cool
starting
though.
it.
Fuck
Yeah,
working. Working sucks, man.
The internet project, I'll share it with you guys, is an MMA website. It's called AI MMA, American Indian MMA. That's the
Okay.
American Indian Movement play
Yeah.
on the name. What it is there's a few regional promotions in South Dakota, one in Utah, one in Wyoming, and one in Montana that have events like monthly, and they're small amateur promotions. And all it is I would host and I would do interviews, and I've done interviews with a couple of American Indian fighters. Nick Kirk, who I have one set up with him. He fights for Bellator, and he's I forget what tribe he is. He's out of Minnesota. And then David Machado, I have one hopefully set up with him in the next week. With and all it is just to build content, to when I drop it, when I have it built, that it already has shit there,
Yeah.
And then I have a couple of those set up, and then I have I've been playing around with like I've been doing it on Squarespace actually.
Sweet.
So
That's the best one to
so
do it with.
Yeah,
man.
it's easy as fuck.
And it
actually,
looks good. Like there's
Yeah,
no other
yeah, exactly.
like you can go to WordPress and all that shit, and I don't know how
Yeah.
easy that shit is, but there's no websites out there that look as good as Squarespace sites,
Exactly.
man.
So it's gonna be small. It's just gonna cover regional stuff, and
That's cool.
There's a few guys back home who run their promotion, and there's a Sovereign Nations Athletic Commission out of North Dakota, and what they do is they'll come to your reservation and you pay them, and they'll sanction your show.
Okay.
So Wyoming, Wyoming has MMA regulatory, but it doesn't apply to the reservation because it's federal land.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that's every state. That's why in California you have these small shows like like the Tachi Palace fights and all this shit on reservations. All the shit back in the day took place on reservations.
That's where it
There was
started.
There
right?
was no sanctioning
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
No sanctioning body, so you didn't have to have a ringside physician, you didn't have to have a gun man, shit like that. But the Sovereign Nations Athletic Commission, they come and they'll provide all that shit.
Uh-huh.
They'll provide the judges. They'll provide They'll provide the ringside doctor and all that. So I'm like 3 weeks into it. So it's a lot of
Nice.
brainstorming. I have a lot of shit written on paper here and there, and I don't even fucking have Microsoft Word on my computer like I'm that poor. I have Open Office. So.
Yeah, don't get Microsoft Word. You don't need to.
Yeah.
Don't give Microsoft any money. Fuck Microsoft.
I know, fuck them. It's like the trial of what, and it keeps trying to update. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So Alex is gonna be the American Indian Ariel Hawani.
Not in theory. I'm gonna be a little bit more behind the scenes, you know.
You say that now, man.
Yeah, but man, you got to be the face of it. You're making it. Fuck it, you.
Yeah.
You the face. You know. You're talking to us now. You can
True.
speak on camera. Like
True, and I'm high all the time though.
That's
the
okay.
thing.
so
Yeah.
who the fuck isn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you
Like,
ever? Are you aware of Joe Rogan?
I am
I think
aware
he
of
does a
Joe
few
Rogan.
things high, and he's
Few things.
Jesus, I drank like a 6-pack while we've been
Yeah.
talking for an hour.
yeah.
I'm on the Joey Diaz level though with THC. I'm above Joey Diaz.
And he
I will
functions,
fucking
man.
smoke, I will smoke Joey Diaz under the table.
That's crazy. I would love to
Yeah.
see that.
If I come to Denver,
Yeah.
I'll I know that you got way more access, but
And it's way better, Keith.
I'm an old man. I can hang.
My tolerance is all of Wyoming plus
Yeah.
Montana.
So what was
Yeah.
you said you used the cream? What was the cream like? You said it helped, right?
What it does is it just dulls pain and numbs pain.
Okay.
I'll rub it on my lower back, and
Mhm.
they'll have it in a cream or a lotion, and
You ever
they'll what they'll have is they'll infuse it with like other shit like lavender. They'll have some that are infused with like peppers and shit, you know.
Mhm.
So you feel a little bit of a burn. They actually make I saw they make a THC spray in your pussy. I read that on Vice. Like
What about
you-
like a THC lube? Is there a THC lube yet?
It's,
Like,
it's
'cause
called,
Mixed with
it's
Viagra.
It's called Foria. Foria. It's only made in California right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll go
it's
find
not-
some for you, Keith.
Yeah.
I'll go find
Yeah.
some for
what
ya.
it's about.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. But no, I have not jerked off with it with the lotion.
Yeah, with the spicy
No.
peppers, that's probably not a good idea. If it's,
It's more of an icy hot effect. So,
okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
It's cool, but I don't do it that often. I ran
Yeah.
out of the lotion like
So
a month ago, and I haven't bought any since. So.
Does it give you any of the? Do you feel any of the effects other than just the pain relief from it? Like, because it absorbs through your skin. Your skin's like the biggest organ. So
Yeah.
do you get high off of it?
A little bit. I'm sure if you rubbed enough on there, like the whole container had like 375 milligrams of THC.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it had, CBD in it as well. So I didn't feel nothing, but I think it's also a tolerance thing,
True. Yeah.
Instead of high all the time.
Lotion's
so.
probably not the most effective way.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's more of a pain. It's more of a topical painkiller type thing. Like, same with edibles, like a Chiba Chew. Like they make a CBD chew
Mhm.
that doesn't have too much THC in it, and that's pretty good.
That's cool.
I'll eat half of that, and like I said, I still like to get ripped off of dabs and smoking weed.
Yeah. Well, you're in the
flowers,
right
but-
spot to be able to do
Yeah.
that. You have the freedom
Hell
to do
yeah.
that. That's so. Yeah. It's. I don't know. There is a shift in
I'm
like.
oppressed here in Ohio. Fuck.
Yeah.
I know, you're like-
guys.
Don't worry, bro. I'll be
I looked
oppressed.
up- I
We'll
looked
both
up-
be
I looked
oppressed
up
soon.
Findlay, Ohio on the map, and I was like, fuck. That's in the
We're a
middle-
suburb of nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's in the middle of what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I grew up in a town 15 miles outside of here. It was a village, as Ray will
Village.
correct me. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
So there was like
Stay true, Keith.
3,500 people living there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Small
yeah.
towns, man. It feels good to escape the small town. So, tell
To
me,
what, though?
Tell me a little bit about you guys. I heard you're moving. You guys are both moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm moving
Keith is
to
moving to
Houston.
another oppressed place.
Yes,
Houston,
Which is
Texas.
Houston, right?
Yeah.
Houston, Texas.
I've flown into Houston once, and that's all I've ever been.
And you
I've
left
heard
that
it's
same
your
day. You're
fault.
like, wrong
Yeah.
airport. I'm
You
out.
fit in
Yeah.
down there because you look Mexican-ish, but you'd be like a giant Mexican.
Yeah, you look like a high Mexican.
I look more like stand up, and you look at me like full body. I look Polynesian
Yeah, like
more than anything. Like I get mistaken more for Polynesian.
I can
thought
see that.
Indians didn't grow facial hair, bro. What's up with that?
There's a white dude somewhere
and
along the line.
that's why I say I could pass for Indian
Yeah.
if I get a tan because I got a long face. I don't grow much facial hair, and I'm like, yeah, right there.
This just came in this year though. This is fucking hard work, dude. The must like two mustache hairs came in high school. Like I graduated high school with like two mustache hairs.
Yeah.
So it's been progressive. Like as I get older, like I've been able to get a fuller beard. Like
Yeah.
before it was like spotty. I'd get like the neck beard, and I
But
wouldn't
that's
even.
crazy. Like all the pictures of like when pictures first came around. I guess maybe there were razors around by then, but you know, you
Yeah,
never
you
see
never
an
did.
Indian with a beard.
Yeah,
They wanted to look good for the portrait, bro. You had to sit there for a long time. Okay?
Here's another thing I found out at the powwow. You know how in every movie, like Western style, where the Indians are in the distance and the drum beat, dun 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 dun.
yeah,
That's really the fucking drum beat
yeah.
to 90% of the powwow
Like I,
dances.
like I said, the drum beat's different. Like Denver has a huge powwow every year. Denver March Powwow. It's in they have it in the Coliseum where the Nuggets used to play in the '70s, and it just gets fucking stacked. And there are like 8,000 people. And it's just fucking music and dancing, and it's dreadful to go to actually because it's so full. You know, I'd rather not fucking go there.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a different experience. Like I limit myself to like two powwows a year. You know, because I grew up with that shit. You know,
The
and
one I went to was a competition,
I
and I was working for my a neighbor at the time. He had like a food vending truck,
yeah.
and my theory is the only reason he got booked because like we were the only like non-natives truck, and
You just
it's
happen to have a
because
tan that year?
no, his last name's Eagle. His
Oh, there you
name's
go.
Scott Eagle, and they were like,
That sounds
"Fuck
more like
yeah,
a
Scott
Corvette
Eagle."
cocaine
That
name.
sounds like he's got to be
That's
part Native American.
that's either a fucking Indian or a porn actor.
Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
drives a Corvette, does a lot of blow, and
Yeah,
he's
hell
an
yeah.
amateur porn guy. He's still wearing like the jean jacket. What's up, bro? I'm Scott Eagle, party starter. Let's get it going.
Oh yeah, so that was my theory as
Yeah.
to why we got booked. But
Yep.
it was also weird too because like I found out that most of the natives there were all Christian,
Yeah,
Is
and
that
that seems fucking weird to me. Being that if you're the surviving members of your tribe, that you would have just adopt the conquering nation's religion with such like very devout Christians too, not like your sideline. Yeah, I go to church, on Easter and Christmas and a few other times, but no, they're like cross wearing every weekend going.
yeah, dude. Like aside from black people are like 95%
Oh,
Christian.
that's another
But
one
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like it's very hard to find like a Indian agnostic or Indian atheist or what you get is you get people who will believe in the traditional ways of your tribe and still believe in the Christianity aspect of shit. You know, it's weird.
yeah?
Like you'll go to a funeral and it'll have Indian music and a Catholic service. You know, like shit's fucking it's an assimilation of both. But I never, I grew up never really going to church. I went to Jehovah's Witness church for like 3 years, probably from like 5 to 8 maybe,
Hmm.
and that was
Oh, you had to
church.
miss pretty good birthdays then, man.
Dude,
Yeah.
it was crazy because I'd have to miss the birthdays at school. Like I couldn't get other kids cupcakes. I wouldn't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance,
Yeah.
and I didn't have Christmas.
Oh, so
And,
fuck the Pledge of Allegiance. That's
Yeah,
some
that's
yeah,
that's,
fuck the- yeah,
that's
fuck the
actually a
Pledge
good
of
thing.
Allegiance.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only good part
Yeah.
about
But you-
anything. You had to
You
skip
know-
all the other cool shit, but at least
Yeah.
you got to be like, fuck this pledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a very loose handle on Christianity,
Yeah.
And when I got older, high school age, they had like FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes and shit like that. I would go because there'd be girls and they had free Subway, they had free food and shit. You could just chill and they would talk about the Bible and talk about this and that and that always, my dad sparked the wonder in me and the native side, like I said, he watched Incident at Oglala. He watched that with me like in the early '90s. I was probably 9 years old. And he described to me what happened, what was going on. He paused it and shit. So with uh, I lost my train of thought for a second because there's a bug on my keyboard. But anyway,
Fucking
And
bugs!
just took a
NSA!
dab like fucking 2 minutes before that.
Yeah.
no, the dabs are good, dude. I didn't do no dabs. I didn't do no dabs still today.
Really?
My buddy came and we smoked the blunt, and I was like, I'm saving the dabs for the podcast. And I'm like 4 dabs in today.
There you go.
I mean, I'm usually like, by now it's like 15 or 16.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. That's so much. I don't think I've
Well,
ever
they're
done.
little. I have a little mini rig, and they're
Yeah.
small. It's
Yeah.
small. Yeah.
But they're strong though, right? I've never done a dab.
What?
I know they're strong. No, I haven't done.
There's different grades. They have like butter, which is 40 to 50% THC. Then they have wax, which is like 50 to 80 or some shit. Then they have shatter, which is like 80% and above, or like
Yeah.
straight THC shit that looks like glass.
Yeah.
Like
I've
this
had
is
people that say they don't like shatter. That they
this is shatter. Like it's weird looking.
It looks like alien boogers
Yeah.
smeared on a piece of paper.
So it's like taffy consistency. I just scrape a little bit away.
Yeah.
But I picked it up yesterday, and
That's
it's
cool.
pretty good. I forget the strain. I always forget the strain, but it's pretty good. There were so many people at the dispensary yesterday. It was like going to the DMV. So
That's insane.
I went in and I told the lady, I was like, I want a pack of blunts, I want 2 packs of blunts and some shatter, and I might get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
insane that it's
Anyway, I remember now. You were talking about the past and stuff like that, and I was saying my dad instilled the stuff to kind of explore, not traditionally, but just know that the tradition was there before Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
With Indians, they had the boarding schools, and they got their hair chopped off, and you couldn't speak your native language there, and your native practices like the sun dance, the powwows, the dancing, the singing, shit like that. The women had different stuff, the dressmaking, all the women had their own shit, and you couldn't practice that no more. So I think that had a lot with Indians adopting Christianity.
Yeah.
Just like the assimilation of that. And me, I always kind of knew it was bullshit, but I never really explored it further till my mid to late 20s after I started smoking weed. Pretty much, like I have a Bible scripture tattoo that I fucking don't show anyone,
Uh-huh.
that I got when I was like 21, 22. I got when I was I'm gonna get that shit covered up, sometime.
Yeah.
You'd be like
Sometime.
John Jones and rep it right on your chest, even though you're
Yeah.
Dude, it's on
douchebag all the time.
it's on my fucking bicep, so it's getting covered. It's small, but
Okay.
fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Looking
Well,
back now, it was fucking stupid.
That's what I'm saying. Like people change, man. The things you do in your 20s.
Like you said,
We were all religious at one point in our life.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. Yeah.
Every one of us here.
We dipped our
went
toe in
through it. We all tried it. We swam around. We were like,
You're like, nah, it's
"Man,
crazy.
This isn't
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
cool. You guys
Like-
all seem like assholes.
You guys
this
care
is
way
supposed
too
to
much
be all
about this
about
crazy
love.
shit. Yeah.
But
Exactly.
all this is judgment and
Exactly.
weird. Like I don't.
Like the most cunty woman I knew in high school growing up with my white friends were Christian moms, Christian moms.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, so and I'm like, what the fuck, And so I always knew in the back of my head it was probably bullshit. And like you said, like it's the people who oppressed my people, and forced that upon them. So why the fuck would I believe that anyway,
Mhm.
So weird.
So yeah.
No
so,
shit.
The other weird thing too was during the powwow. At one point, this one of the dudes was shooting a fake or like a rifle with blanks in it
Yeah.
during the dance, and again I'm like, I would only really want to celebrate shit pre-European, like if I'm really celebrating my heritage, like it just
Indians like guns, man. They're still new to us.
Yeah.
well, I get.
Keith is a
Well,
purist.
but we brought the horses too, and in every depiction,
Think
it
about
seems
it.
like all the Indians are riding horses.
We brought the horses like
We-
Keith
No,
was
the-
on a
the-
fucking boat with
am European.
Mr. Ed.
The coolest shit we had before, we had the tomahawk. It was just fucking. It was it was a rock. It was an oval rock with a stick with
You guys
bison
didn't have a
bison
bow and
cinch
arrow
for it.
before?
We had the bow and arrow, and we made our own arrowheads. But in terms of weapon progression, like we didn't get badass tomahawks until steel came,
Yeah.
until Europeans came. So we didn't even have there's a badass. They have it's more for ceremonies, but it's a tomahawk peace pipe. So it's like a pipe on one side, and the other side is a tomahawk blade.
No,
And
but they didn't smoke weed through the peace pipes, though, did they?
I think they did. I think some tribes did, and like I've even heard some shit like on Rogan where they found the Native American guy had hemp in his peace pipe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they smoked something. I don't know if they cultivated marijuana, stuff like that. I think Indians that were able to stay around and be more stationary in one place probably could have pursued that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if it grew wild,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
it
Maybe
did
that's why your tolerance is so good.
in their
Yeah.
in their
True.
migration, that maybe they
True.
just knew the one spot where they're like, hey man, there's fields of this.
I mean,
every year.
they appreciated nature, and that was a part of
True.
nature that brings people joy. So I would imagine if there was a plant that which native tribes,
So about cultivating, so
Yeah.
they would have thrown the seeds back in the ground.
To bring it back to the beginning, it's hard because of the record keeping that the natives
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
Like we would draw in a cave, we would draw on a hide now and again. Other than that, it was the stories. So
Yeah.
like even the stories about my chief, I don't even know if they're true. Like Chief Washki is supposedly the great Eastern Shoshone chief, and he's like noble and like blah blah blah. And his headstone is like he was always faithful to his people and loyal to the government or some shit. Like kiss ass.
Mhm.
And but who knows if there's a story about him. There's a butte on the reservation called Crowheart Butte, and the story of the butte is the Crows were fighting the Shoshones, and they fought, and it was a stalemate. So the chiefs were like, well, we'll fight each other. So the chiefs fought each other, and then Chief Washki wins and cut out the other chief's heart.
The
Brought his
ultimate
heart-
MMA.
brought
You know
his
how the telephone game works.
Oh yeah.
brought his heart back.
Yeah.
Brought
It was
heart
probably
back.
his liver.
And then ate it in front of everyone and rubbed the blood all over
No,
his
he didn't.
And then,
And then he turned into an eagle and flew.
That's the thing a lot of people don't know about natives too. That's misrepresented is that we fucking fought each other hard.
Oh yeah.
Fucking kill each other. Like you said, Crips and Bloods. We were like that. And we would take trophies. We would take your hand. We would chop your legs off. We would fucking take trophies. And you hear these accounts of the Northern Cheyennes battling like the Blackfeet and shit like that. And fucking people. There was one of the I forget the story. One of my relatives told me about one of the chiefs and something about him. He won a battle and he cut the guy's leg off at the knee. So the guy was without his leg for the rest of his life, but he let him live like that, shit like that. Like they were savages,
Yeah.
So it was, like they were. I'm sure they were nice to each other, and that's why there's not a lot of inbreeding and stuff too. Like we would battle with another tribe and he would steal your ladies. These are our wives. now.
savage though. I mean, it was just by weaponry, but like, man, the English, fucking, they went on. Think of how small the UK is as an island.
Oh yeah.
And they colonized half of the fucking world at one point. Even think about it right now. Australia, Canada, South Africa, India, like they fucking ran shit. Hong Kong,
Yeah.
they fucking, from this tiny island, they just ran the whole fucking world.
Yeah.
And just like they were the big one then,
And that's
and then
and
they
that's
fell.
that,
and then we were the big one. And the way shit's looking now.
I mean, we're not the big one anymore. Like, we're
We
not
are.
at the top
We're
of, like,
still-
military-wise, we have, like, the most
that's all
military.
that really matters. That's
Yeah.
all that we're talking about. That's how they colonized these places. It wasn't.
Yeah.
They sweet talked these people. They were like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
we're here. We got fucking better weapons than you. Why don't you give us your shit right now, or we'll kill
or
everyone.
let us put a base here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
That,
Yeah.
we're
We'll let
here
you
now,
have
we're,
a fake government, but you still answer to
Yeah.
us, or
Yeah.
we'll fucking kill you. And,
We'll teach
Yeah.
you how to be just like us until we're tired of it, and then we'll just pull out, and you guys are on your own. Go.
and deal with it.
Maybe
Yeah,
we'll come
it's-
back.
It's and a lot of people, a lot of Indians are still bitter, about being colonized, about shit and stuff that happened in the past. Like
Mhm.
it happened, it's done.
Yeah.
And we can still hold on to those sentiments and stuff, but for what? Like what is it worth?
Which you would think it would be like just a rejection of the Christian lifestyle, you know?
Exactly.
That would be my rebellion.
Because if you think about it, it was the religious thing that kind of injected everybody everywhere, you know. So it's like
you think about Indians from the eastern part of the country to the western, it's different because you get like the East Coast tribes. They were very governmental. They were stationary. Like the Iroquois, they had their own. Like the Bill of Rights was drafted from the Iroquois' Bill of Rights, pretty much. I think was kind of lifted from it. I think.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stationary tribes here in Ohio.
Yeah, like if you look up the Iroquois Nation, they're completely sovereign. They have no government ties. They issue their own passports, their own IDs. They're badass. Like they came to Denver in July. Their lacrosse team, they had the World Lacrosse Championships. I think they took bronze or they took fourth or some shit. But it's all native dudes, and a couple of these guys play college lacrosse for like Syracuse, a couple of the colleges. But they're a brother and a cousin, a pair of brothers and a cousin, and it's pretty cool because in 2010 they follow the same World Cup schedule as soccer. So 2010 they had it in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
In the UK wouldn't recognize their Iroquois passports, so they weren't able to play.
Oh wow.
So they played the UK twice and they fucking smashed them both times. So
yeah,
it was pretty cool. But like I said,
counties in Ohio are named after Indian tribes.
Yeah.
Like
that's how like Oklahoma is. My wife and her family they're from Oklahoma, and that's like there's small tribes everywhere in Oklahoma, and they'll each have a huge casino and shit. And there used to be Indian boarding schools down there. There's still in Kansas. There's still the Indian University, Haskell University. That's the only American Indian university, and that's run by the government too, pretty much. Run by.
I don't think there's any reservations in Ohio though. We named everything after Indians, but we got to fuck out of here. We're like, hey, we'll name shit after you, but you gotta go. You gotta go. Come on,
nice.
Trail of Tears. I know it sounds bad, but you're gonna take that walk.
Yeah, the best you can do is educate misinformed people about the plight Native Americans had. The shit they went through, the struggles they had, being victims of genocide, and just let them know. But there's always going to be dumbasses. There's always going to be people who are. I grew up around racist. I grew up in a very racist state. Wyoming is a fucking very racist state when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Hey, be white, and then you'll see what true racism's about, because people are more racist around other white people.
Oh yeah, it comes out.
They ever.
Yeah, well, it's the same way. It's the same with natives. Natives are racist against each other and against people. I'm like they'll just be at a stoplight and they'll be like, "Oh, look at that white bitch." I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Like stuff like that. Like I'm able to just break it down and not see color for the most part. Like I said, there's very few people I hate in this world, and it doesn't matter about the color. It matters about the person.
Yeah.
So, but not
different ethnicities, different cultures, like that to me is interesting, not scary. Like we're just like, oh my god, they're not like me, so I'm terrible.
There was a teacher he taught in my elementary school all the way up. My school was kindergarten through 8th grade, probably like 200 kids tops. So it was very small, and one of the 3rd grade teachers had a daughter that was the same age as me, and I fucking never met her till I was a freshman in high school, and I went to the white high school. And he was a teacher all those years at the school, and I had never known her, and never seen her in sports, never done, it was weird. So there's like some institutionalized racism too still that exists, and
I'm guilty of it as much as I think any white dude around my age is, because in the late 80s, early 90s, like black people especially got horrible PR, like between the riots and gangster rap. Like seriously, that's when the fear in like middle America started fucking happening.
Yeah,
like it was all bad publicity. And I think even though I don't, my last girl I dated was half black. My roommate that I just had was half black, so they count as like one whole black person. So I'm totally not.
You're totally good, bro.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
We had JR on the show. We've had 2 black guests on the show. We're totally diversified.
I used to work with a black dude back in Wyoming, in Laramie, and I used to tease him because he used to call me the last Mohican and shit. He'd be, so I'd be like, come on, man, slavery was only like 400 years. That's
Yeah.
not that long, you know. Like all you guys had to do was work. You got big and strong, you know. So I'm like, there's really no downside, you know. I'm like, my people were victims of genocide and stuff. So, you know, I've had the racial banter and stuff, and
Yeah.
there's been times when I was younger. I'm sure I was racist, you know. I'm sure, but my parents raised me to be fairly respectful of everyone, you know. And I grew up like I have a gay uncle, so I've always been around like a gay person, you know. So I've always been comfortable around gay people, you know. So that's never been a thing for me. But the thing is to get other people to think like that, to try to get
Yeah.
other people to have that mindset, and you know, even like I like friends, like close friends, still have that, like you said, that closed minded thinking and shit like that, you know. And the stuff that helped me open up my thinking a lot and explore a lot of the stuff that I like now was marijuana. I never smoked it till my mid 20s, and it's crazy. Like I smoked it when I worked at the residential treatment facility.
Mm-hmm.
I would smoke a bowl when I got home at night. I worked like a really odd shift, 3 to 11, whatever. And I would work with kids that were aged 14 to 21, and it was a really good experience. Yeah, it helped me grow a lot as a person and in my interactions with people. You know, like I started out as kind of a quiet, cunty, to the point type of guy with these kids. You know, like how a cop would be. You know,
Yeah.
feel like that. But at the end, you know, I got to the point like, you know, like the kids you liked, the kids that wanted to do shit and even recognize the fact that they needed some aspect of change in their life. That was the good shit from that job, you know, the gratification from it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, there was also the crazy kids, you know.
Yeah.
But it was fun as shit. But I had a different conglomerate of coworkers. Laramie, Wyoming is where this was, and it's a college town. University of Wyoming is there, so I worked with, you know, a bunch of different races and stuff, and it was a good time.
Yeah.
It was a
I
good
mean,
time.
a lot
But
of it, it's like exposure, and then, you know, like if you're not exposed to all, you know, different people,
Yeah.
then you just form, your opinions are formed on limited information. And then,
like,
you
gotta
know,
pop the bubble.
yeah, then the stereotypes, like, well, the stereotypes are all true, bro.
I was totally
Yeah.
racist when I was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
And then I started working at a department store job with a black dude. I'm like,
Nice.
you're like the fucking coolest guy I've ever met. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a racist growing up in a town and no black people.
Yeah.
And, or the two there I didn't like. So I'm like, I don't like these guys. I don't like any of them.
Yeah, they all suck.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
And then I work with this guy and I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. Like, and you know,
True.
so that shit,
Yeah.
you know,
Totally agree.
was over before my 20s. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
to me, like, it's just so weird. And yeah, I like you. Weed has a lot to do with it. I think
Opens
weed
you
is a plant that teaches empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I can put myself in other people's shoes. Like, even with this Ferguson thing, it's like, hey, I grew up in an all-white town. I can't know what it's like to be a minority in a place policed by only white people that don't live there. Like, I can't
Which
fully
they're,
understand that.
yeah.
But I know that it, as a known pothead in my small village, I was singled out quite a few times. But even
Yeah.
then, like, that's not the same shit.
no.
Like, they didn't pull a fucking gun on me. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
they would
That's,
just harass me.
Yeah, I've never had anything like you know, the whole nation's slowly moving towards a police state, and it sucks, you know. And I seen it even in a small town I grew up in, Lander. They got fucking all these little vehicles and all this shit, and fucking they got Felipe Costa, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu dude,
Mhm.
to come and teach jiu-jitsu for a week to all the cops. And
See, that needs
Yeah.
to happen, but for more than a week. Like, cops should
Yeah.
because I think that if they were competent in something like jujitsu or striking, that they wouldn't immediately go to their fucking gun unless
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
unless the dude had a weapon on himself, or
Exactly.
you know,
And it would help get
Unless-
out any extra aggression they have.
Yeah.
'Cause
let's
a lot
shoot
of
people in the
you know-
legs from now on too. How about that? Like,
Yeah.
arms and legs. Like, I know it's a little harder to hit center masses,
Yeah.
obviously,
Like,
where
like, like
the
me,
most-
if I meet people, I I gotta let them know I'm cool right off, you know. Otherwise, I give off the wrong vibe. I'm like
You're a big dude.
the big quiet dude that fucking is just kind of. I'm like a security guard or some shit, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I gotta let people know that I actually have a little bit of personality and somewhat nice, you know.
You're like, no, I'm a teddy bear. Come on now.
Yeah, and then it's like
This
I know,
giant
like,
Eskimo's running up on me.
exactly, and I know with the cops that fucking helps me like fucking a negative 100%, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just being a big dark dude, like the reservation. Every time I go back to the reservation, I have Colorado plates, and I get followed by the cops. Like I wonder, like why the fuck, you know? And the cops are all white dudes. The cops are all federally paid, like converted park rangers who went to training for a few weeks and are now cops. You know, shit like that. People who were working for the BLM
Well
and shit
qualified.
Like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. So
Or kids
it's
coming fresh back from a war
Yeah, no
with
shit.
brown people.
With a lot of
Yeah,
their fucked up heads,
You seem to be about the same complexion. If you just wrap a sash around your face and hold an AK-47, like those dudes are gonna be real pissed.
Yeah.
gonna be part of the Islamic State.
Oh,
I was watching that shit on Vice. That's crazy.
yeah.
They're recruiting from Minnesota. That's not that far.
Oh, I saw they got a rapper, man. Minnesota has to watch out those underground rappers. They might be jihadists. not
Oh,
not brother Ali though.
Yeah.
Brother Ali's no.
He's too pale.
So
He's
there's
too
the
bad,
What?
Yeah, hell yeah, UFC tonight.
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
I know,
The
right?
prelims start. I think
I
what
think
the fuck happened, man? Like I went out yesterday and
that's what
went
I'm saying.
shopping, and then I came back and I'm like, who the fuck is Joe
Soto?
Soto?
Yeah. It's like
I think
I'm tapped into enough people that know what the fuck's
Yeah.
going on. Why did this not come on my radar? Yeah, we were talking a little bit about that before.
It makes me sad for Barao, but fuck, like, come on.
Well, you know,
I mean, Barrao's
I-
had an issue.
I gotta side with him and Jose Aldo are shitty at cutting weight.
Yeah.
No.
They should fight a class up.
Yeah, they should
And
fight each other.
You know, he fucking fainted. Like,
Wow.
Did he really?
Yeah, that's why this happened. He fainted.
Did he get to the weigh-ins?
Any of you either cut weight? No.
No,
I've
no.
never known.
But
I wrestled in 5th grade and I was fat, so I just got pinned all the time. So.
I wrestled in the 8th grade, and most of the time I had to wrestle a weight class above me because there just wasn't anyone at that
Wasn't
weight.
nobody there? Yeah.
And I was like short, and like it was weird. Like I had packed on mass, but I hadn't hit my growth spurt yet.
Yeah.
So like the first time in my life, I was like chubby.
Yeah.
Always been like super fucking thin and fast, and like so then now I'm like chubby, and then I'm having to wrestle dudes that are like 7 inches taller than me and lean.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? My first match ever, I got pinned in 12 seconds.
As soon as I got on my back, I just give up. I'd be like, I'm not gonna
I had a
finish. Fuck
tattoo.
this.
I was in 8th grade, and I looked over at my opponent. He's like 6 foot tall, and he has a tattoo. And I was like,
Nice.
but what made me feel better was at the end of the tournament, the championship match, he pinned that kid in 30 seconds. So the second best kid only lasted like double what I lasted. So
That's the kind of athlete I was. I found gratification in the losses. I fucking sucked.
I was really good at hockey. I was good at baseball when I was younger, and I was
Nice.
good at football when I was younger. And then I just I quit caring
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was all-state football in Wyoming my senior year, and I turned down 2 Division II scholarships because I was just fucking lazy. I had a
Wow.
girlfriend.
Like I would have to. Do you know how many practices and weightlifting?
Yeah, exactly.
I just got done with 4 years of that shit, and I
Yeah.
want to fucking quit.
I was so lazy I didn't even lift till my junior year of high school. I just fucking went on natural talent. Fucking around. I have really long arms. I have like a 7-foot wingspan for a 6'2" body. So it makes me good at basketball. It made me good on my defensive line.
You're the Indian
Nobody
John
can touch me.
Yeah, exactly. Have you thought about getting into MMA at all? I mean, you're running the MMA website and all that shit.
I'm old and I have the broke down body. I've thought about training jujitsu.
Yeah.
But that shit's expensive. My son does
Good
it.
health insurance.
That's true.
Do Indians
Yeah.
get sort of national health?
No,
I don't know
No,
about.
Yeah.
we get one step lower than Obamacare.
Oh fuck!
It's like I
yeah.
don't care. That's what they call it.
And it's been like that since I was little, so it don't even matter.
Yeah.
I always had insurance through my parents, so that's how I got my bumps and bruises fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've thought about training. Jiu-jitsu, like I said, my son does it.
Joey Diaz can do it though.
I know.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
That's what I talked to the guy, and he said it's good for fat guys. So I'm just scared about re-injuring the back. It's a
For sure.
It's a timidity thing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'd love to try. I'd love to. Yeah.
And so anything with joint locks and everything, I'm so weirded out by everything's just held together by like not even duct tape. It's like Scotch tape
Yeah. The
That's
cheap
how I
stuff
am.
from the
Yeah,
dollar
yeah.
store.
and
Oh,
like
yeah.
4-pound test fishing wire. Like we're not even. It's like
I'll
Needle-
fart on motherfuckers though. I don't care. I'll fart on people in jiu-jitsu.
That's probably a good move. I'm sure.
Yeah, hell yeah. That'll be the setup for the submission.
are you
Yeah,
gonna go
kill whatever the
Yokozuna?
He kills it
I'll
on
be-
the triangles.
One day, I think I'm gonna try it before the new year. I'm gonna be the only guy that's fucking 300 pounds and tries to do rubber guard high. I'll
Well, if
try
you
it.
got those long limbs. If you got that
I know.
long arm, you can get that rubber guard
I probably could.
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
being that flexible. You wouldn't have to even be that flexible to just grab it.
Yeah.
So,
But it won't be as tight though. It'll just be.
Yeah, what won't matter if you're fucking 300
Yeah.
pounds? You just
Yeah.
squeeze the shit out of them.
Just make sure you get on top, and they'll just be scared.
I know. I'm also waiting. I'm also waiting for old man. I'm waiting for old man strength to kick in somewhere along the line.
Yeah. So are we.
That shit needs to come in. I know. Like, we're in line, man.
Yeah. It's like please.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this fight card, and it's fucking 8 fights. It's 8 fights.
Hey,
It's only 8 fights.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Because
Well, it's supposed to be
Soto's
John
Soto's
Jones.
fight got junked,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then he
The guy who
was
was jumped.
and then someone else pulled out 2 days before.
Jesus. Well, and it was supposed to be John Jones Gustafson rematch was supposed to be the main card originally. So
No, that was the next one I thought.
no, it was this one.
Yeah,
I read an
thought it was
article.
178. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was 177 initially. Way
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but again, it might end up being. I wonder if they're
Hey.
gonna start the prelims late.
Here,
then.
I know that John
That's what
Jones
I was wondering.
I know that Jones regularly watches our podcast, so I'm gonna say this.
John?
Hey,
Yeah, what up,
when
John?
TJ Dillashaw is a real champ to step up and be like the day before he's like, "Hey, your opponent changed," and
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, I'll fight him."
Yeah, that's
fucking-
true. True.
You know, where Jones, what was the fight that someone pulled out?
It was fuck. Which one
It
was,
was
that?
supposed to be Jones.
Belfort? Vitor? Was that Belfort? No.
Vitor eventually stepped in. It was supposed to be. Fuck.
Was it supposed-
Jones and,
Fuck. It wasn't Chael Sonnen because he was the guy that
No,
was supposed to
Sonnen was
come
the
in.
guy that stepped up. and
Yeah.
was, I'll fucking come in and save this shit.
hang on a sec, guys. I'll be right back. My doorbell's ringing.
All right. Yeah, I don't know who that was. Maybe it was
Well, regardless,
whatever. Yeah. But
I know
who
Jones-
knows? Maybe if it was because this is his first title defense. So maybe if on Jones's first title defense something like that happened, he would have because he was a few fights in when that happened. So he probably has more
He's
leeway.
supposed to fight Dan Henderson.
There you go. Yeah, and Henderson pulled out late, and
Henderson got hurt late.
or he announced it late, but he knew he was hurt for a while because didn't he
trained
train
to
with
quit.
Vitor or something like that? Yeah, that was kind of a weird situation. They ended up fighting, and it was ridiculous anyway, or not?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, we figured out it was Dan Henderson that he was supposed
Yeah.
to fight at that time.
Oh, Hendo.
yeah,
And
I went to my first 2 UFCs this year, and I love Hendo. I love. I've only been into MMA since about 2007.
that's about when I got
I
into it.
watched it sporadically before in high school. I was all about sports and trying to finger bang girls, so I didn't watch too much then. You know,
I
that was
got
the
to see
that was
two
the
legendary-
Tito Chuck days, I guess.
Mhm.
those are great.
2001, 2002. But they were fun, man. I went like at the beginning of both cards and watched pretty much. I went for smoke break on one, and the other time I just went on edibles.
There you go.
When Dillashaw beat Burrell the first time, I did not see that coming. I sat by a pair of Brazilians,
Wow.
my wife and I, and my son, and the place was going nuts the first round, and then once he got knocked down, it was dead quiet in there.
No shit.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy. You saw that one.
I sat by Chris Beal and I forget the other dude's name. They were both on Ultimate Fighter though. They were there in the seat right beside us.
Now,
It's
now,
pretty cool.
now you got to see a legendary fight, or what will go down as a legendary
Oh,
fight.
yeah.
The two UFCs that I saw were the first one was Randy Couture coming out of retirement to fight Tim Sylvia
Okay.
when he won the belt
Yep.
back.
Yeah. When he got the belt back.
When
yep.
he knocked him
Yeah.
down with the first punch,
Yep.
and then just dominated. Like, I was part of the 16,000 who screamed Randy so
Nice.
loud they couldn't talk for 2 days.
Nice.
And then the next year's event was Henderson and Silva.
when
when
he
he-
won in the second round. Was that?
When it was Pride versus UFC.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
Hendo had already lost his 205 Pride belt to
Yeah.
Rampage when they were unifying those belts.
Yeah.
And then he finally fought Silva to unify the 185, and he won the first round by all means. And then
Yeah, he did.
Sil-
He did.
Then Silva took the second round and choked him out.
Yeah. Silva.
But
yeah.
yeah, so those were the two UFCs that I saw.
I had a chance
That's
to go
badass.
see the Rousey's first fight, but I didn't end up going.
But you pussed out.
It was up in L.A. and I
No.
didn't have the money or what. I don't remember. I wasn't able to make it happen.
Oh, the first one we went to was Rousey McCann.
Uh-huh.
McMahon, whatever the fuck. That shit was kind of boring, but it was cool because Cormier beat up the other guy, Cummins.
Mhm.
Cummins had to step in for, who was it, Rashad Evans or something. And
Yeah,
I remember.
so I watched Cormier's last two fights too. So I'm a Cormier fan actually.
Yeah.
I like John Jones. I like a lot of fighters.
I like John Jones as a fighter, but I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
he's
yeah.
the biggest piece of shit, and I kind of want to spit in his
Exactly.
fucking eye. But as a fighter,
I'll come down to New
phenomenal.
Mexico
Just
and fight
fucking-
him right now. No, I won't.
No.
he's destroyed legends. You know,
Yeah.
he's just the fucking legend killer. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't just
Yeah.
like, you know, everyone who was a legend, he's destroyed, and then the one guy that they thought he would walk through, Gustafson, fucking gave him
the hardest. Yeah.
the hardest fight that he's ever had.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
I kind of feel for him. Like, he gets hurt in his run up to getting to fight back for the belt again. And then Cormier gets the fight. Okay. He gets that, but he gets the next fight.
Yeah.
And then fucking Jones gets hurt. Well, then Cormier gets to keep the fight because they pushed each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
because Gustafson would have been back to, you know, he was the original front guy in line.
yeah.
It's
So
gotta
it
be
would have put
good.
him out. It would have put him out further, and now they want to make him fight Rumble Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Which, what the fuck?
That's
Like,
that's gonna be a crazy fight.
yeah, like, what if you get murdered by this guy?
Yeah.
And your fucking whole dreams
if-
fucking.
What if he
But
hits you?
What if he fucking murders Rumble Johnson?
Maybe,
No,
but Rumble,
that's
Rumble's.
perfectly-
He
but I'm
is
saying
good.
he's
Yeah.
way more to lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
kid is at the top of the mountain. Has been something that it seems like Jones has been trying to dodge.
That's how it happens all the time in the UFC. Though you get some shit, like
Yeah.
a few years ago, it was fucking Diaz no show into the conference. Then it was Condit stepping in,
Yeah.
and then GSP gets hurt, so it's Condit Diaz, and then I always expect the worst when like a super fight gets announced because I'm used to that shit happening.
Yeah. It's
Or
like
like a fight I want
The
to see,
injury
like
bug's horrible.
Yeah.
right?
even this one,
Yeah.
like the
Right
fucking
now.
weigh-in, and he
Like,
gets, the guy is. We didn't even know there was a
Bringing
change.
zombies out
Yeah.
of one of these next few events. That
Then
was a very
Yeah.
hard.
Andre Feely got hurt from Team Alpha Male. There's been a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Condit's been out since February.
Seems like it comes in
Guaranteed.
waves. Because there
It
was
does.
there was a while like last year or whatever. I remember us talking about it. It was actually when we had fucking Matt Brown on, because I brought it up that it seemed like a lot of people were getting injured,
Oh, I love
and
that.
then for a while it was you didn't hear as much about it, and now it's like another
Yeah.
thing where it's a bunch of people are getting hurt. I wonder.
I know.
It's weird.
Matt Brown had the thing I had with my back, where his back went out and he couldn't feel his legs. It's a fucked up thing,
Yeah.
It's a really weird, tender injury.
No
that
shit.
You don't know if it's going to be weeks or months to fix. When he hurt himself when he was supposed to fight Condit.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I don't know if it's an overtraining thing or I'm sure it's an overtraining thing in some instances, and then some of them are just accidents like
Or it's
Wolverine
just
Jones,
cumulative.
shit like that. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Cumulative.
you can't be boxing, wrestling, jujitsu, weightlifting, and all strenuous things, and then not expect something to just pop out every once in a while.
Especially with no fucking fast food.
Oh yeah.
Especially with a clean diet. Like, what the
Oh,
fuck?
Oh man,
Fucking eat all this shit. Like, now I'm going
No
to
shit.
McDonald's, man.
such a sacrifice, man.
It is. It's crazy.
Jesus.
I eat healthy for weeks at a time, and I'll lose some pounds. I'm like, I could do this all the time. I'm like, this tastes like shit. Like you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
you're like, I can only eat these same 4 meals so many times.
Yeah. And then you have a cheat meal, and you're like, oh, that's why I ate it all the time because it's fucking delicious.
Yeah, but I'm still looking forward to the card tonight, even though it went to shit progressively.
Yeah, but yeah,
Like you
who
said,
knows?
we're hoping the good fights deliver.
Ferguson Castillo would be a good
Yeah,
fight.
yeah.
It gives these guys that don't have a name really, like that everybody, it gives them an opportunity to, start their careers,
Yeah.
kind of, or enhance their careers in a way because they're not overshadowed by the huge thing. I wonder if there's like I'd be pissed if I bought the fucking pay-per-view and I was like, if I was a huge Dillashaw or huge Barao fan, like, and then all of a sudden it's gone. I still, I'm out $50 because I already bought the
Imagine
fucking
if
fight.
this was your vacation. Like,
That's definitely
Bro,
worse.
this might
Yeah.
be your vacation destination,
It-
and you may have originally, since this was going to be the Jones, you may have bought it then, and then they offered a refund when that came out, and you were like, "Fuck it, I want to see Barao, Dillashaw too,"
Yeah.
because that, and then you're already there, and then this
Yeah.
happens, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
The state issues refunds, I guess, if the main event changes the day before.
Oh, wow.
I read on Reddit MMA, which is a cool thing in California. So
That
that's
is
good
cool.
for the people who win. They'll get issued refunds.
We're going to be watching the fights, and it's just going to everything's going to look like prelim because the stands will just be all empty. There'll be nobody
It's gonna
cheering.
It's going to look like the Kings after Weber
What?
hurt his knee.
It's like,
Well,
it sounds like Japan. It sounds like they're in Japan because
Sacktown, and that's where Dillashaw's from.
it's true. So
So
it'll be
people are
packed
gonna
for
be
him.
out.
Yeah.
People will be there.
But it'd be funny if they weren't.
It would be.
Sad
I-
funny.
I want the UFC to come back to Denver sometime. That'd be
They
cool.
haven't been back to
true.
Columbus in a long time.
Yeah, in a long ass time. Yeah.
Weren't they just there for? Well, I don't know about Columbus. They were just in Ohio
Cincinnati.
though. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Eddie, right?
Yeah. Because they were there for the Brown fight.
Yeah,
Browns
that's
fight.
still 3 hours from here. So
That's still that's L.A. to me.
I bought tickets to watch.
that's- what would it be if there was no traffic?
That's without traffic.
Yeah.
That's no traffic. It's 2.5 hours.
Wow.
2.5,
That's why
3
you're
hours. Well, no, I don't have. I mean, I don't
There's
go
no
up to
traffic
LA.
on the way to
I
I hate
Cincinnati.
driving to LA. You'll hit traffic when you're in LA. Driving within LA from one spot to another spot takes forever.
Yeah.
We have
When you're
two
driving into it, it's just like, it's a different. You're usually on different things.
Denver gets fucked every day, like 3 to 7. It gets
Yeah.
fucked.
Oh, well, San Diego will get packed at the same
Yeah.
times, but that's just
I went
regular
to
traffic.
San Diego last year, actually, for like a week and a half, or
Okay.
actually 2 years ago, for a work conference when I had a job.
Mhm.
And that shit was fun, man. I had a cousin who's a Marine, and she took me around to a few places like downtown, a couple of clubs and restaurants. Like I went to El Indio, some Mexican restaurant.
Okay.
That shit was that shit was good.
Yeah,
and it was a fun time, man. It was chill. But I went with her at daytime in the afternoon once, and we were stuck forever. And I went with her at night, and it took like 10 minutes.
Yeah. The 8
So, yeah.
freeway is kind of like the main freeway. So,
Yeah.
starting around 3, it starts to get. I mean, it moves though. It's not like LA traffic where you're stopped.
Yeah.
It moves.
Denver,
It just
you get
moves
stopped.
slow.
Denver stops. It fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I
Fucking
try
traffic.
to stay off that. I live in a suburb called Arvada, northwest of the city, like 5 minutes away from the city.
Yeah.
So it's like 100,000 people maybe, probably more because all the Mexicans. And it'll be it's a very big Christian community, so we have no dispensaries, no head shops, nothing there. So anything I gotta drive to the city, but it's not far,
Yeah.
Especially growing up in Wyoming where you drive miles and hours. and shit,
Everything's
so-
fucking far away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
fuck, man. I'm excited for the card. I'm excited. This is a great show. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we're,
man.
we're at
Look,
about 2 hours.
This is fun.
We could-
I appreciate you guys having me.
Fuck yeah, we'll have you back on, man. It's it's fun. Went by really fast. So tell everybody where they can find you online. Twitter, your new the website when that's coming out and all that shit.
All right, you guys can find me at Twitter at @kindaRational _ between the words. I'm working on an MMA website. Should be live hopefully by October 1st. I don't have no domain for it yet, so when I do, I'll let everyone know. Other than that, I'll be saying dumb shit on Twitter and smoking the weeds,
Nice.
living life.
Nice.
And I wish you guys the best. Like I said, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been fun.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah, hell
It
yeah.
was fun. You need to get that fucking domain. Go to Hover, bro. They make it
Hover.
so easy. Yeah, don't go to GoDaddy or any of that shit. Just go to Hover. Super easy.
Okay.
It's like $15 for a domain, but lock that
Nice.
shit down.
I will.
But yeah, awesome. I'm looking forward to that. And if you
Alright.
if you need any help with it, let me know too.
I appreciate
I've
it. Cool.
I've been using Squarespace for fucking. And I'm gonna start doing when I move. That'll be one of the things just to bring in some money to do freelance web design on Squarespace. So if you run into any questions or whatever, let me know.
I appreciate it. Nice.
Fuck yeah, man. Keith Spurlock.
Same
one.
as always.
Same as always. Just Google his name. He's the most
Same as
famous
always.
Keith Spurlock on the face
I
of
ain't
the
plugging
planet.
shit. It's me.
He ain't plugging shit but his butthole later because he enjoys it. Helps him as good luck for UFC fights.
It's
Oil check.
superstition.
Oil checks himself.
Everyone's got their own ritual.
Everyone does.
Someone does a rain dance. I shove things in my butt for good luck.
I like to eat pizza and drink alcohol when I watch UFC because I'm normal. I'm not like
Nice.
fucking
That's
weirdos.
what's up. If anyone wants to ask an Indian a question about anything,
There you
I'll be
go.
happy to answer. Like I said on Twitter, I have no Facebook. I absolved myself of that.
Nice.
All 400 friends and everything. I entered some code and it erased everything. It was
Nice.
cool. Fuck yeah. So everything is gone.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm still there. I sign in, but it's just a gray profile. I have no friends. I have no likes. I have 0. So yeah.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Fuck
So,
yeah. Twitter, kinda_rational. Follow him.
Yeah.
Go to inspireddisorder.com. Check out my artwork. If anybody wants to purchase anything, you save 10% by using coupon code INSPIRED when you check out. You'll save some money. There's 40 sacks. So if there's anybody want to decorate your 40 ounce, you can do that. T-shirts, stickers,
Or
paintings,
you can decorate your
drawings.
coffee table like I did.
Yeah. Everybody that's bought them, I haven't seen one person use one yet. But whatever, that's fine. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what you do with this shit. Just buy it.
Come to Denver and do dabs.
There you go.
That's
Do
all
dabs.
I
It'll
have.
be a dab bag. But yeah, when I do move, I'm gonna go. The plan is a road trip. And I want to go through Denver. So I'll
Nice.
hit you up. We'll hang out and all that kind of shit. All right, everybody,
what's
and go to inspireddisordercollective.com. Check out all the other podcasts that are part of the collective. And that is all, people. Thank you for listening.
Oh.
Bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Inspired Disorder podcast. Embedded signals within this podcast have reprogrammed your natural thinking patterns. Side effects may include lack of inhibitions, erectile dysfunction, anal leakage, transcendental communication with beings from 4 of the 7 primary dimensions. In the event of a tear in space-time, please keep your hands down and feet together. Any loss of life or limbs due to interdimensional travel is not the responsibility of this podcast.